Good day, San Luis Obispo Country Club members. I'm here with Paul Barr, our golf course superintendent. Paul and his crew are going to be doing a lot of maintenance out on the golf course. So Paul, talk a little bit about the maintenance that's going to be going on that week.
We're out to make the most of it, and what we're going after historically is the greens is primarily the thing that we're doing. And within that same time, always we have to do other things to fairways and tees as well. We just wanted to talk about some things that will, like machines and what we'll physically be doing during the week of closure. The greens, it'll be walking aerifiers that are pulling the plugs. We'll be putting a little bit of sand out, so there'll be a sand machine, there'll be brooming. With the tees, we intend to try and scalp them down to get rid of some of the grain, the very inconsistent grain that we have across them, so that it's kind of like cutting it down, and then we maintain it really tight coming back is the plan. And then punching and working some sand in those. So verticuttings and scalpings. And the fairways, we do what's the shockwave. And we have to do that twice a year because what's helping is that's actually giving life to the drains that we put in the fairways.
Gotcha.
And so by putting the shockwave across, it's opening up slits with right over the surface of these drains and through the sand layer that we are creating and establishing to marry them to the native soil. And so we'll be using the shockwave machine. We'll be sand punching, putting sand into those areas too through another varying depths. And then we'll be working on verticutting, same as we were working on the tees, to try and get a little bit tighter, smoother, more consistent fairway conditions as we come out of the winter. Before, what was considered to be a not so wet area has now become the wet area.
Correct.
Because we've improved the drainage in bad areas.
Right.
But the other way is too, is like some areas in fairways that were always bad or not so healthy, there's still the weaker areas in the fairways, but we are gradually improving them. It's just that they don't blow past or get equal or even to the rest of the fairway. So everything's getting healthier, but the gauges, fewer rope lines, fewer painted areas, and doing such, so that we are improving the health of these areas. One other note is just, everyone always thinks of sand and aerification for the week of closure. We still have to make sure that the rough is mowed, even though you're not playing on it. We try and get after sand depths in bunkers, flipping the sand too, like we talked about that practice, edging the bunkers, and then even the varying edge of the bunker, we're making sure that we're reestablishing that, because we can tell where the edge of the liner is, and that's to protect this nice natural native look so that the kikuyu doesn't become solid, equal, even parallel railroad tracks. So lots of stuff, we're just kind of kicking the dust off everything as we went through the winter, and here we are in the spring. Yeah,
so again, like you said, not only do you have your task of the large maintenance that you're going to be doing that week, but then you have your daily maintenance that you can't get away from, especially during the grow season. So all of these tasks lead to much longer days for the guys to be working. So
yeah, we're even breaking out the irrigation system. So we have had to water things in, materials in between storms, but really, truly, we had to lean on the irrigation system. So here we are firing it up, cutting around heads. We have 2,900 heads out on the golf course where they got to go find every single one of them, cut around them, make sure they're raised properly, and do all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of work.
What should be, or what could be some of the expectations that the members are going to receive when they actually go play that day?
One thing to be for sure is spring is different than fall. I want everyone to understand that. And with the spring, a lot of people that have been here long enough will come and go, are you doing the big holes or are you doing the small holes? Right? And it's a great question. And I'd love to talk more about why big and why small when it comes to holes on the greens. But in the spring, we're doing the smaller holes. We figure out how many of the smaller holes we're punching based on soil tests that let us know how much organic matter that we're trying to remove in the top 2 inches. The greens, when you come back, are going to have much smaller holes and way less sand than what you would see in the fall. They're still going to be sandy, and they're still going to be bumpy and not smooth and not putting true. But the goal with that is to mend them up as fast as possible. Mother Nature kicks in, gives us long days and everything else, warm soil temperatures, and we're able to get those greens to tighten up as quick as possible.
So with the sand out on the greens, but we're also going to have sand in fairways and tees. Is that also going to be the process as well?
You're correct, yes. The same thing is about the fall versus the spring is because we are ramping up, fertilizers are just becoming more active, turf is just starting to grow, we're not as aggressive with how much sand we put out, because even in the fall, we want the sand to disappear just as fast as you can, but we have an amount of sand that we want to put out every year specific to our golf course to help remedy issues that we've had historically in the past.
Gotcha. One thing that I've noticed too with when we do aeration out on the golf course is that first week that we're open, it's really important to make sure that we're fixing all of our ball marks, because what'll happen, a ball mark will look similar to a hole or a punch in the green. If that is left unattended for, let's say, a 24-hour period, you get these little scar marks. So the green does come back, but then there's these little scar marks. So maybe we can send out a text message or another notification with just making sure our members know, hey, if you don't fix your own ball mark, look for other ball marks and try to fix those as well, so that we don't get those little scar marks on the green. What size of core are you going to be pulling?
You think of like the pencils that we have in the carts. It's about that thickness, a 3/8 hollow tine. And we do hollow tines on the greens, and we actually do solid tines, much thicker, to incorporate more sand into the tees and into the fairways, like a 5/8 solid. And we're doing solids to punch sand in, and we're doing 3/8 hollow to pull old material out.
Right.
And right now we're in the phase of trying to grow a sand profile for the tees and the fairways. We need to be working on that to punch sand in. And once we get a good profile, just like we have on the greens, then we would be pulling aerification plugs.
Right. Why is it important to aerate or punch and sand during the spring?
We don't want to be stuck with any sort of rain. Rain's not going to help with the process.
Right.
Makes it really messy. But on top of that, in the winter months or in the summer months when we're hottest with longest days are the times when the roots are not capable of tolerating all that traffic. And so you want to find the best peak seasons. And of course, that's when everyone's like, well, everything's getting just right. And that's also Mother Nature saying, this is when you do it.
Well, again, I'd like to thank the members for paying attention to the video and really dissecting what we're talking about during that week of closure. If you have any other questions, please feel free to either email myself or email Paul. But just wanted to give the members just a little bit of a window of what Paul and his crew are going to be doing during that week of closure, along with expectations of the golf course.
Thank you very much for your time and for following.
Yes, thank you.